Mic check 1 2 1 2. It's the Y2K collector here with a blast from the past. A copy of Spider-Man on the Sega Genesis. Now, this copy of Spider-Man is different from a lot of the other versions of Spider-Man that we've seen, and there are a lot. You have Spider-Man, you have Spider-Man the Animated Series, you have Maximum Carnage, you have Separation Anxiety, you have Spider-Man and X-Men. What other Spider-Man is there? I feel like I'm missing one. There's definitely a good number of Spider-Man games that came out though during the 90s, but for me, none was more iconic than this one. I remember when this game came out, and my brother would play this a bunch. This is a difficult Spider-Man game to beat, especially when you get to like the Sandman levels. It's tough to beat Sandman. I thought the whole aspect of being able to take photos in between levels and then exchange them for money so that you could buy more web fluid and things like that. It was just little different aspects about the game that just made this one super cool for me. And then that kind of like, it was almost like this dark jazzy music that went along with each level. It's like that whole weird jazzy kind of dark sounding music that came on. Ooh, almost dropped it. That dark sounding music that almost came along with this game. So definitely getting Spider-Man on the Sega Genesis is huge for me. Glad I was able to pick this up. Very, very cool game, and that's what it's about for me. In large part, definitely the nostalgia factor. For me, I don't need to pick up a lot of games, but when I'm able to get a game that takes me back to my childhood, for sure. Now I'm also on a quest to collect all the Spider-Man games. And to me, it's a pretty fun challenge because a lot of these Spider-Man games, even the iconic ones, aren't crazy expensive. The Spider-Man and X-Men game, I think loose cart, you could pick that up for around $10, and you could get a complete in box on the Sega Genesis for $20. So that's a really cheap one. This Spider-Man game here is probably a little bit more. I was able to find a copy for $30, complete in box. This one also includes the special insert as well in this one. But I think this copy of Spider-Man averages probably for closer to 40 complete in box. It was a lot cheaper. I don't know why this one went up. Well, like I said, I put a post up today pretty much asking, the subscribers of the channel why it seems like Marvel games are just increasing in price. I'll give you an example. Wolverine's Adamantium Rage, I remember just a couple of years ago, that game was like a throwaway game. You could get that game for $10, $12. You couldn't give that game away. Now I'm seeing complete in box copies of Wolverine on the Sega Genesis for like $90. So it's a little wild. I understand why some of the Wolverine games have gone up, with the Wolverine and Deadpool movie coming out. But we've moved past the whole hype surrounding Marvel. It's funny, I was watching TV the other day, and I happened to flip to a channel where it was showing the Incredible Hulk. Now, this I think was the last version of the Hulk before they decided to settle on Mark Ruffalo, because the first Hulk was horrible. I didn't like the first Hulk. Very bad. I didn't like it at all. I can't even remember the name of the guy who played Hulk in the first one, but he was not a good Hulk. Now the second Hulk movie that starred what's this girl's name? Liv Tyler and Ed Norton. That was the best Hulk, in my opinion. I think Ed Norton was the best Hulk, and I think even that Hulk movie was the best Hulk movie. And I really, really thought that Ed Norton was going to stick around and join the MCU, because if you remember at the end of that Hulk, you see Tony Stark go in and talk to the General, and basically, he's basically trying to recruit Hulk to the Avengers. So we saw the spark of all of the hype around the MCU really kick off back in like 2008 with the launch of movies like Iron Man and the Hulk and stuff like that. And then, obviously, then came along Captain America, Thor, all of those movies, which created the MCU. the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But I feel like a lot of that stuff really peaked with like with Infinity War and Endgame. I remember it was to the point where you couldn't wait for like spring to come because you knew they were coming out with a new MCU movie. And then at some point, I don't know when, but just the Marvel movies, man, they just started to tank. Like they just became really whack. Like and I can't put my finger on why, but it just feels like after Endgame, I thought that, that the movies would have gotten better. And honestly, I feel like they had a really good opportunity to keep the momentum going with Guardians of the Galaxy 3 because, if you remember in the comic books, like Adam Warlock played a huge hand in stopping Thanos. And I feel like just the portrayal of Adam Warlock in the MCU is just horrible. They did not do Adam Warlock justice. That is not the Adam Warlock I remember from the Infinity Wars and the Infinity Gauntlet comics that I read back in the 90s. I'm not a comic book aficionado or anything, but nah, you guys, Marvel, you guys could have done a way better job with who you chose to play Adam Warlock. No knocking the dude that they picked, but it just seems weird. So I don't know. It just seems like after Endgame, things got a little weird, and a lot of the hype around Marvel really started to die. I know the Spider-Man movies have done well. I think Far From Home and Never Home or whatever whatever the titles of those Spider-Man movies were, but the Spider-Man movies did okay. But I just feel like there's been a huge drop off in the MCU, and with that huge drop off, I'm really wondering why it feels like these games, especially these retro games, are slowly going up in price. So I don't know if there's something that I'm missing. I don't know if there's something like on the horizon for the MCU. I used to keep up with it to try to know like what movies were coming out. And I don't even know what phase we're in now, if we're in phase 5 or phase 6, but it feels like a lot of the momentum around Marvel and the Marvel movies is gone. I remember maybe, what are we in, 2024? 10 years ago, 8 years ago, there was so much just anticipation around the stories. And then like I said, after Endgame, it was just downhill from there. And I really thought Eternals was going to do something great too, because I thought that like through Eternals we'd learn a little bit more about like Thanos, because I think he's half Thanos is like a mixed breed. I can't remember what it is. He's half something and half something else. He's half eternal, half something else. Half I can't remember it right now. But for all you comic book aficionados, let me know down in the comments. But Thanos is a mixed breed. His mother was something, and I think his father was an eternal, but he was a mutation. So how in the human race, like if in the Marvel and like in Marvel 616, you have humans who mutate and gain powers. Well, for Thanos' race, which I'm pretty sure it was the race of Eternals, he was that's what it was. He was a deviant. So you have the Eternals and the Deviants, if I'm not mistaken. Someone let me know down in the comments. But you have Eternals and you have Deviants, and I think Thanos was half Eternal, half Deviant, but he was also a mutation. So that's where he, I think, gets a lot of his powers from, because he was a mutant. But I just feel like, with where they took the cinematic universe, it was just pretty lame. And hopefully they can get back on track and bring the audience back, to where we can start enjoying some of those movies again. But those definitely cannot be the reason why these games are going up in price. So I'm interested to know down in the comments, what do you think? What do you think about the MCU? What do you think about where we're at with the MCU now? Do you think the last few movies have been good? Do you think they've been bad? And do you think there's hope for saving the MCU? Let me know down in the comments. It's the Y2K Collector. Hopefully you're having a great Thursday. I'll talk to you soon. Take it easy.